Let's talk about the Affordable Care Act. Now, I know some of you are instantly going to throw your hands in the air and say, I'm not interested, Adam. Look, that's fine. If you're not interested in the Affordable Care Act, I totally understand. I'm not either. Not as a client, not as a consumer. Of course, I have to purchase my own health insurance every year, and I personally don't go with the Affordable Care Act for numerous of reasons. But there are many of you out there that want it, need it, and those of you that may think you don't want or need it could benefit from it. So I'm going to run through it real quickly here, not overcomplicating things, because if you needed deeper, fuller discussions, that's something you can talk to me on the phone about, and I will gladly go into deeper detail. That's all of my videos you see here. If you need deeper or fuller detail, I don't want to cut 15-minute videos. People aren't interested in that. So bear with me as I quickly go through the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act is Obamacare, or now Trump Care, if you will. It is not insurance from the government. The insurance is not from the government. That's the first mistake many of you make. The government is not giving you the insurance. The insurance is from numerous companies, from Blue Cross Blue Shield to Molina to many other companies. Okay, many other companies. And the reason I'm not listing them all is there's too many to list, number one. Number two, several of them go by several different names depending on what state and area they're in. But it is not insurance from the government. What is from the government? The government offers subsidies. What is a subsidy? A subsidy is the government willing to give you tax credits that will lower the price of the coverage. And to be truthful and honest, most times, without a subsidy, the coverage prices from an Affordable Care Act plan are extremely high. They're the higher end of the spectrum in the world of health insurance. Why is that? Because they cover just about everything you can imagine, including pre-existing conditions. That is very important. Many people I talk to on the phone tell me, Adam, doesn't all health insurance now have to cover pre-existing conditions? Isn't that a law? No, it is not. The law does exist, but it only applies to insurance carriers selling on the Affordable Care Act marketplace. There's a big difference. If you buy a private plan, odds are it's going to be much cheaper than an Affordable Care Act plan. But that's because they don't cover pre-existing conditions, including pregnancy and psychological issues. So if you're looking for a plan that's cheaper and don't need pregnancy coverage, psychological coverage, or have any kind of health issue, private plans are the way to go because they're cheaper because they don't deal with those things. I think it's a nice trade-off. Some people will say, why would you want to sign up for a plan that doesn't do that? Well, if you're not sick in any way and don't have psychological issues, are not planning on any kind of pregnancy, why not? But that's another video. The Affordable Care Act covers all of this. It covers medications. It covers pre-existing conditions. It covers hospitalization. It has deductibles, co-pays, maximum out-of-pockets, all of those things. It is a major medical, as full gets in this day and age, health insurance policy. And if you are sickly, if you need coverage for diabetes and heart conditions and cancers and things like this, or if you've had any of those illnesses or diseases within the past 5 years, an Affordable Care Act plan is likely for you. Now, I say likely because if you can't be subsidized with one, it's going to cost a lot of money. But still, depending on your need, something you may have to scrape and scrap to go with because of your health. It just may be what you need. Now, let's get back into the subsidies real quickly. If you fall within a certain category financially, meaning what will be asked of you is how much money do you make as a household? That's husbands, wives, children if they're contributing financially. When you file your taxes, what is the total income that you place on your taxes? Or what is the total income that is usually figured out by the accountant, the H&R blocks, what have you, in the final statement of your tax papers? 40,000, 50,000, 300,000, 20,000. What is the amount of money you make as a household on your tax form? I would put it into the Affordable Care Act's machinery, if you will, and it would determine if you get any kind of subsidy. If you get a subsidy, plans can go hundreds of dollars less, if not more, than they would if you did not get a subsidy. So the Affordable Care Act is affordable if you meet the right criteria. You have to fall in a certain household size. You have to fall in a certain amount of money that you earn as a household. And outside of open enrollment is November 1st of every year until December 15th of every year. This is the time when anybody can sign up for the Affordable Care Act. Outside of those dates, you must have what's called a qualifying life event. Qualifying life events must be events where you have lost insurance, like you have moved, you have gotten married, you have gotten divorced, you have lost a job, left a job, what have you. And as a result of any of these things, and there are a few more of them, you had to have lost insurance. If you didn't have insurance at a job and you left it, that does not qualify you for an Affordable Care Act because you didn't have insurance at the last job. You only get a qualifying life event if during one of those events you have lost insurance through no fault of your own. If that's the case, I can talk to you about getting into the Affordable Care Act. To be fully honest and upfront, oftentimes, as of April of 2018 when I'm recording this, I don't have Affordable Care Act plans to sell in many areas. Wisconsin I do, Ohio I do, some places in a few other states here or there. Now, why is that? Why, outside open enrollment time, do I, as an agent, not have many Affordable Care Act plans to sell? Again, to be open and honest with you, it is because in an attempt to save money, carriers do not pay agents or brokers to sell their plans outside open enrollment. If they aren't going to pay me to sell their plans, I'm not going to sell them. Not because I don't want to help you. I absolutely do. I wish to God I could sell open enrollment at all times in every state, but until there's a law passed or something is done that tells these insurance carriers that they must pay agents and brokers who sell their plans at any time, not just during open enrollment, they make it a lot more difficult. But if you need one of those plans, I will point you in the direction of those plans. I will not sign you up for something that isn't good for you. You have my word. I do not want unhappy clients. That does nothing for my business. So this is a general summary of the Affordable Care Act. The number one complaint that I get from people with the Affordable Care Act, and I'm not saying all the time, is that their doctor doesn't accept it. Look, I am sorry if you fall into that category. I truly am. That has to be frustrating. There are doctors out there that do not take the Affordable Care Act. So what are you supposed to do? Get a private plan? But if you have pre-existing conditions that won't be covered, how does that help me? I do have a private plan that will pay for doctor visits. The doctor visit copay, premium, what have you, assistance will be given to you even for pre-existing conditions, but it would not be given to you for hospitalizations for pre-existing conditions or surgeries or anything major that happens with that pre-existing condition. It would not apply to that. So you either have to switch doctors, find a job that will give you coverage. You don't have any choices. You're going to have to switch doctors, or you could petition your doctor to take this coverage. That's a whole process, but maybe it's something you can get accomplished in a few months. It is an annoyance. It is a frustration, but it happens. The number two complaint with the Affordable Care Act is if you make too little money, and this is the part that blows people's minds, but it's true. If you make too little money, they will not subsidize you. They will not give you assistance to pay for your plan. Usually, in most states, if you make under $12,000 to $15,000, you're not going to get a subsidy. If you make under that, they expect you to go get Medicaid. If you make too much money for Medicaid and not enough money to get a subsidy from the Affordable Care Act, you're in some bubble. Your best bet is to get a private plan for as cheaply as I could find it for you. If you have pre-existing conditions, again, I have plans that would help you with doctor appointments for things such as that, but nothing else. But that's still better than nothing, is it not? Don't go without anything. That's crazy. You're going to end up in bankruptcy because you have no coverage to help you pay for anything. Don't do that. I'm here to help you find the best plan. If it's an Affordable Care Act plan, awesome. If it's a private plan, great. If it's an indemnity assistance plan, wonderful. I'm here to help you find the best thing. The Affordable Care Act is well-meaning, well-intentioned, and works well for people who fall into its particular circle of need in order to obtain an Affordable Care Act plan. Look, anytime you get the government involved in something, and I'm not taking Republican or Democrat side here, it doesn't matter. Anytime you get the government involved in something, oftentimes it complicates that something ridiculously. Finally, I want to ask you and tell you and plead with you this. Never, ever sign up for an Affordable Care Act plan without some kind of help, assistance, or direction. There are many different ones at many different price levels, at different types of coverages. Some give you giant deductibles and you get no help with anything, no copays until that $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 deductible is paid. Nothing. You get nothing until you've paid that. So you're paying out of your pocket until you reach $5,000, $10,000, sometimes $12,000. And if you're not a sickly person, or even if you have a condition, but you only go to the doctor 3 or 4 times a year, you're never going to get that paid. I can help with things like that. I absolutely can help you if you allow me to do it. So even if I can't find you an Affordable Care Act plan because it's outside open enrollment in the state you're in, those carriers aren't paying me to sell. If you want to let me help you by buying a little bit of life insurance off of me, check out my upcoming video that will be here very close to this video about very cheap, affordable life insurance. A dental discount program, or full dental insurance, vision insurance, anything like that. If I could become your agent and your broker, I am now given the okay to work with you on whatever you have. So I could give you advice and direction on your Affordable Care Act plan, even if I wasn't the one who sold it to you. Let me help you on some level so I can then get in there and access what you've got and give you advice and direction, support, and help in that. You never want to call the Affordable Care Act on your own if there's a problem. If they raise your price out of the blue, if they demand certain kind of proof of what job you have or your tax papers, it'd be like walking into the IRS without an accountant with you. Don't do that. Give me a call. Sign up for something as affordably as you can, like my life insurance that starts as little as $30 a month for a single person, $50 a month for a couple, and $75 for 3 or more family members. That will provide you $50,000 to $100,000 in life insurance. It's amazing. Sign up for something like that. I'm your agent. I can help you with anything. Pretty simple, right? I am here to take the harassment out of health insurance, to help and to guide you, to teach and direct you, and to show you full exposure into anything I sell with these videos, with articles, with recorded, my phone calls to you are recorded, with recorded phone calls for your protection. Let me help you. Let me guide you. Let me show you the way with the Affordable Care Act or any alternatives. Thank you. And I am a salesman you can trust.